So today we are going to learn about the surface landmark and surface marking of the abdomen. But first we start with the surface landmark. So let us see which are the surface landmark we are able to see into the mummified body. First landmark, that is the anterior superior iliac spine, that we are able to palpate in the flank region, that is the anterior most part of the iliac crest. Second one we are able to feel, that is the pubic tubercle, that is present at the lateral end of the pubic crest. And third thing we are able to palpate, that is the upper border of the pubic symphysis. Now if we connect the anterior superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle, so that is the location of the inguinal ligament, and midpoint of that line, that is known as midpoint of inguinal ligament. And second point over here is between the anterior superior iliac spine and upper border of the pubic symphysis, that is known as mid-inguinal point. So here we are able to see 2 points, that is the midpoint of inguinal ligament and mid-inguinal point. Now let us see how to count the ribs. So for counting the ribs, first of all we have to palpate for the suprasternal notch, and 4 to 5 centimeter below the suprasternal notch at the there is a presence of one elevation, that is known as sternal angle, that is the junction between the manubrium and body of the sternum, and at that junction there is an articulation of the second rib. And now if we go downward from that, then we are able to count the ribs, that is the second rib, then third rib, then fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th, 9th and 10th rib. 11th and 12th rib, they are the floating ribs. So now if we see at the lower end of this thoracic cage, we are able to see the costal margin, that is due to the crowding of the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th costal cartilage. Now we divide the abdomen into 9 quadrants by drawing 4 planes, 2 horizontal plane and 2 vertical plane. First horizontal plane, that is lies at the level of 9th costal cartilage on both sides. So that is known as transpyloric plane, and that transpyloric plane lies at the level of lower border of the first lumbar vertebrae. So it is a first horizontal plane, that is known as transpyloric plane. Second horizontal plane here, that is the transtubercular plane, by connecting the tubercles of the iliac crest. So that tubercle of the iliac crest lies 4 to 5 centimeter behind the anterior superior iliac spine, and by connecting right and left tubercle of the iliac crest, we have a second horizontal plane, which is known as transtubercular plane. Now we have to draw 2 vertical planes, that is that vertical plane they are also known as lateral plane. So that vertical plane we have to draw from the mid-inguinal point. So here we already know that between the pubic symphysis and anterior superior iliac spine, there is a presence of mid-inguinal point. So one plane passes through that mid-inguinal point, that is the lateral plane. If we trace that plane upward, then it passes from the tip of the 9th costal cartilage and also the middle of the clavicle. That is why it is also coincides with the mid-clavicular line. So these are the 4 planes, and due to the by drawing these 4 planes, we are able to divide the abdomen into 9 region, that is the right hypochondriac, then epigastric region, then left hypochondric region. Below that we have a right lumbar region, then umbilical region, and then we have a left lumbar region. Below that we have a right iliac fossa, then we have a hypogastrium, that is the left iliac fossa. Now let us see the surface marking of the liver. So liver, most of the liver present into the right hypochondrium and epigastric region. Some part of the liver also extend into the left hypochondrium. Now to draw the liver, we have to draw 2 borders of the liver, upper border and lower border. So let us see which are the points at the upper border. first point is slightly below the right nipple on the fifth rib. So first we have to see for the second rib, then third, fourth and fifth. Slightly below the nipple, on the fifth rib there is a first point for the upper border. Second point for the upper border is at the GP-sternal joint. So that is the second point. And third point for this is the little below and medial to the left nipple on fifth intercostal space, which corresponds with the apex bit. So these are the 3 points for the upper border. Now if we join these 3 points, then it represents the upper limit, or either say upper border of the liver. Now for the lower border, first point for the lower border, a point 1 centimeter below the tip of the right 10th costal cartilage. So that is the first point below the tip of the 10th costal cartilage. Second point is opposite the tip of the right 9th costal cartilage. So that is the second point. Third point is in the midline at the level of transpyloric plane. And fourth point is slightly below and medial to the left nipple. So that is the fourth point. Now if we join these 4 points, then we get this lower limit of the liver. And for the right border of the liver, we have to draw a curved line which is convex on the right side by joining the right end of the upper border and right end of the lower border. So this is the surface landmark. This shows the position, or either say disposition, of the liver in the body. So now we have to draw the cecum. So for drawing the cecum, first we have to draw the various planes, that is the transtubercular plane. Also we have to draw the transpyloric plane, and also there is a presence of right lateral plane. Now to draw the cecum, that cecum is projected into a triangular area between this line as an asymmetrical sac which is 6 cm in long, and blind end being directed towards the fold of the groin. So here in right iliac fossa we are able to see the blind sac, that is the cecum. And at the meeting point of right lateral plane and transtubercular plane, there is a presence of iliocecal junction. And slightly below that, that is 1.5 to 2 cm below that, we are able to see the base of the appendix, which is attached to the, or either which is open into, lumen of that appendix opens into the cecum. Now second point here, that is known as McBurney's point. So what is the McBurney's point? For that we have to draw a spino-umbilical line from anterior superior iliac spine to the umbilicus. So that is the right sided spino-umbilical line, and junction of junction of medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3, that is known as McBurney's point. So this is the junction of lateral 1/3 and medial 2/3, which is known as McBurney's point, and maximum tenderness in appendicitis is felt over that McBurney's point. So now let us see the surface marking of the kidney. So for that we have to palpate these spinous processes of the vertebrae. So how to count that spinal, how to feel that spinous processes of the vertebrae? So first we have to palpate the inferior angle of the scapula. So these are the inferior angle of the scapula. This inferior angle of the scapula lies at the level of seventh spinous process of the 7th thoracic vertebrae. So below that we have to count so here this is the spinous process of the 7th thoracic vertebrae. Then below that we have a T8, then T9, T11, T10, T11 and T12. After that we have a lumbar vertebrae. So there is a L1, L2, L3, L4, L5 and then S1. So these are the spinous processes of the thoracic and lumbar vertebrae. Now for drawing the kidney, for the surface marking of the kidney, we have to draw one parallelogram, that is known as Morris parallelogram. So for that we have to draw 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. So first we have to draw 2 horizontal lines. One is through the 11th thoracic spine and second one is through the 3rd lumbar spine. So this is the first horizontal line through the spinous process of the 11th thoracic vertebrae, and then we have to draw second horizontal line through the spinous process of the third lumbar vertebrae. So this is the second horizontal line. After that we have to draw two vertical line. First vertical line lies 2.5 centimeter away from the midline, and second vertical line lies 9.5 cm. This is the first vertical line which lies 2.5 centimeter away from the median plane, and second vertical line lies 9.5 centimeter away from the median line. So this is known as Morris parallelogram. So area which is mapped out here, that contains the kidney, or kidney lies in this area. Now how to mark out the hilum of the kidney? So hilum of the kidney lies 4 centimeter from the median plane at the level of thoracic spine of the first lumbar vertebrae. So here this is the thoracic spine of the first lumbar vertebrae. At that place there is a presence of hilum of the kidney. So now we have to draw the kidney. So like this, in this mapped out area there is a presence of right and left kidneys. While drawing the kidney within the parallelogram, make sure that axis of the kidneys lies laterally and downward. That is why upper end of the kidney lies slightly nearer to the lower end. That is why we have to draw the kidneys obliquely. And second thing you have to remember over here, that is right kidney is slightly lower in position due to the presence of liver if we compare it with the left sided kidney. So by keeping these points in your mind, we are able to draw proper anatomical location of kidney in our body. Now we have to draw the spleen. So for drawing the spleen, first we have to count the ribs, either from the front or either from the back. Either if you count that ribs from the front, then start it with the sternal angle. Then we have to reach to the 10th rib. Now for drawing the spleen, we have to mark 2 points. First point is 4 centimeter to the left of the median plane at the level of 10th thoracic spine. It corresponds with the medial end of the spleen. So it is a first point. For second point, that is present on the left 10th rib in mid-axillary line. So both points are on the 10th rib. First is 4 centimeter to the median plane, and second one is in the mid-axillary line, because axis of the spleen coincides with the 10th rib, left sided 10th rib. Now to draw the spleen, we have to mark these 2 points by an ovoid outline which overlaps 9th to 11th rib, and left 10th rib represents the axis of the spleen. So by drawing these 2 lines, we are able to anatomically locate the spleen, which is present behind the mid-axillary line. So now this is about various surface landmark and surface marking of various viscera on mummified body. Thanks for watching.